Pia. How are you doing tonight? Oh, good. You can work with me. Hey, Dolphy. Hey, Lakeisha. I'm still doing a lot of market prep, Dolphy. I'm going to probably cut out a bunch of my baby shoes tonight. I figured that's going to be the easiest thing for me to do while we chat. Hey, 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 ladies. Hey, everybody. Yeah, I know. Hey, ladies. So good. And guys, Tasha might join us tonight. I was talking to her this afternoon, and she says she keeps getting my notifications like the next day. So I told her what time I'd be going live, and I said, hopefully she can join us, so we'll see. I'm just going to walk over there for 1 second. I'll be right back. Sarah. And I got a finished project to show you guys. It was a special order. So as soon as we get a few more people on, I'll show you. Forgot my ring light upstairs, so I'm trying to make do, and then the sun is kind of funky. So I'm gonna mess with this light a little bit. That's a little better. All right, everybody. Slowly, people are starting to come in. Hello, hello to those who haven't said anything yet. Glad you guys are joining me. We'll talk a little bit about market last week and just a whole bunch of stuff. So, all kinds of stuff going on. And I'm working. So I tried to pick something that would be easy for me to work on while we chatted. So, hey, Diane. Yeah, we'll go over that here real soon, Diane. I'm just kind of letting everybody jump in and get here so everybody can hear it at the same time. Give everybody a few more minutes and then we'll get chatting. What's everybody else doing? I know Pia's working. Anybody else still working with me tonight? few more people coming on. Hey to everybody who's coming in. Hello, hello. Lakeisha, CPSC and CPSIA are technically the same. They're both agencies. CPSC is the main agency and CPSIA is the governing body for the children's stuff. CPSC is the overall one. So you have to be compliant with both, basically. Oh, cool. Good, Sarah. And basically, Lakeisha, with Pia's stuff, her shirts are cotton. They're all cotton, and cotton is exempt. So she doesn't have to do anything for compliance because she's already complying just because of the fiber content. And she doesn't have any embellishments on like snaps or buttons or anything like that. So she made her life pretty easy. All she has to do is make sure she tags according to the Federal Trade Commission, which is what we all have to do. So, hey, Kathleen. All right, so we'll get going here, guys. People are kind of in and out, in and out. So I'm just going to get going. So I'm going to show you. Okay, yeah, and yours are going to be polyester, Lakeisha, and that also is exempt. So you're fine, so long as there's no buttons or snaps or anything on it like that. If they're just straight t-shirts, you're good. So you don't have to worry about that part. So I'm going to show you real quick. I had a commission from a friend of mine. Wanted me to copy a purse that she had bought some time ago and loved the purse, but it has seen its days, and she wanted me to do another one. So this is the purse that she bought, and she has loved it and loved it and loved it. And so she gave this to me to use as a pattern. And so I went and picked out some fabrics for her. And when I saw this one fabric, I knew that was going to be the one she chose, but I gave her probably about 8 or so to pick from to start to see if I was even getting close. And yeah, she picked the one that I kind of figured she was going to pick. And so this is hers. And I just finished that last night. And it has the same zippers and the whole bit. So here we are. And it just took me a little while to figure it out. The inside was a little tricky because of the way the linings went and there was no seam showing. So it took me a few minutes to figure it out, but we are all good and I figured it out. I had to, I think it's a boho bag. I would say that's what it is. And so, it took me a few minutes. We ripped it out twice, I think. I had it almost completely done, and then I realized one of my seams was showing. Well, it was actually this pocket here. When I opened it up, the seams were showing inside, and I was like, no, the seams aren't supposed to show. So I knew I had to go in and take one of the lining pieces out because this has like 1, 2, 3, like 4 linings in there to create the different pockets. And so I just had to go and take one of the linings out that that went for this one and then put it on the other side, and that solved the problem instantly. One of those where you don't really figure out that you did that until you did it, and then you start looking at things. So I just need to press it really good, and then we are done. So I just want to show you guys that real quick. This happens, you know, and I like fabric. I was really excited when she picked this fabric. So I was like, I bet this is going to turn out really cute. So it did. It turned out super cute. So yeah, once I press it, and she just didn't want that one little pocket on the outside, so I'm kind of happy about that too. Pocket's okay, but I don't see it being a very useful pocket. It was more, I think, just a for looks pocket. So, but that was fun. That was a nice little side project. You guys watched me take that off, the pattern off of that on one of the lives back. So if you didn't watch that, there is a live that I titled, I think, how to take off a pattern from an existing object or something like that. So I showed you how to do that with that bag. So that was kind of like a, you know, palette cleanser in a way. And then I've got one other project I've got to work on that I can't share with you guys because it's for a friend, and she's hoping to take the item that we're working on together and take it into an actual production. And I'm just doing a, she brought me the finished piece and we wanted to refine it a little more. So I am redoing it. And when she finally lets it out, then I can show it to you guys, but I can't right now. But it's really cute. So I've got that to work on this week, along with more market prep. And so, how did the market go last week? Everybody wants to know. It was hot. I'm sure you guys saw my little short video from the market, and it was 100 degrees. It was hot. So we had a lot of people there, and the snow cone vendor probably sold the most that day. And I'm sure he had probably so many sales you don't know what to do with because everybody was walking around with these big snow cones. And then there was actually, I think it was an ice cream float drink. And I don't know, I saw the vendor. Hi, Juana. So I saw the vendor, but it looked like it was a Mexican version because it had a tamarine around the top, and it was in a kind of a barrel like glass, and it looked more like a mango nada kind of thing. But there was a lot of those walking around too. So those guys were doing really good. And if they would have been the one that was across from me, had my business, but they were down and around, so I couldn't get over to them. And it was just the food. I mean, I didn't even eat that day. It was so hot. All I did was drink water. And thankfully, the market only runs from 9 till 2. So we were able to get out of there before like the 3, 4, 5 o'clock heat really set in, because it was starting to get pretty hot long about 1 o'clock. And thankfully, we only had about an hour left. But the very first time I go do a market, I don't expect to make a ton of money. I just don't. My whole thing is if I can make my booth rent and then make, you know, a little extra on top of that, I feel like I've had a really good day the first time at a market. And that's what I did. I made my booth rent, and then I made about $100 more, and I was very happy with that. I had a lot of good comments. I had a lot of people give me ideas for the next one. I had a lot of pregnant women come into the booth that asked me if I'm here every month. So I was very excited about that. I had a lot of people take pictures of my signs so that they could, and the sign's right there, so that they could go to my Etsy shop or get a hold of me in the future. So I feel like those things were definitely successful things to have happen. So I'm really excited about that. So yeah. And we got some more CPSIA questions going on here. If the garment is already compliant, like t-shirts, fabric, and we don't add snaps, pearls, etc., do we have to go through the process of make it compliant? It's already compliant, Wanna. You don't have to make it compliant when it's already compliant. So you don't have to do anything. Just make sure your tag is FTC compliant, which is the Federal Trade Commission, which means you've got to make sure, you have whatever the Federal Trade Commission is requiring to be on your tag. And that's pretty standard. Once you go to the site and you figure that out, that's what everybody has to do in the US. It's not just us. It's not just children's stuff. The children's stuff, you have to have a batch number on. That's the only thing that you have to have. Batch number can be anything you want it to be. You just have to be able to take that number and go find your tracking if they ever ask you about it. Well, when it's something that's already compliant, they're never going to ask you, but you still put the batch number on there because it's a kid's thing. So my batch number, the way I do it is I always just use like the month and the year. So if it's July of 2021, it's 072021. And that way I kind of at least know the month that I made it in. Now, if I make a bunch of tags up and they all have that number on there because I have to make them up ahead of time, then that's still okay. I mean, I know where my stuff came from. I know I can go track it. I'm not worried about it. So if you're doing a whole lot of production, then that batch number is going to mean more to you because you do have to be able to go back to your records. You're not going to be able to track it as easy as some of us that are smaller like this. And we know, I know I bought that at Joann's, or I know I bought that, wherever. So it's all good. Okay, so Lakeisha asks, what if it's a baby onesie? Those have snaps. Yes, they do. Now, if the baby onesie, and we can't call them onesies, they're bodysuits, okay? The baby bodysuit, you have to get the compliance certificate from the manufacturer for those snaps because those snaps are metal. So you will need to have that. Those have to be compliant. I mean, they're selling them themselves, so they have to have that certificate. And it might even just be on their website. You might just be able to go to their website and it might say, all of our bodysuits are compliant. That will work, and just hang on to that. So you'll be fine. Hey, Tasha. So if the snaps are cam snaps or plastic snaps, you will be fine as well. You just need to also have that certificate because cam snaps do have the thing that says we are CPSIA compliant. So you just have that and you keep that for your records. And that's all I do. And then if I need any more information, I go back to them at that time. I don't worry about it unless I get asked for it. I have never yet been asked for it. And this law has been out 12 years now. I've never been asked for it. So there could come a day because I do leather, and leather is one of those things that can have a lot of lead. Well, the company I buy from, every single piece of leather meets the requirements, and all I have to do is call them. So they will send me whatever I need. So I'm not worried about it. And there's only one place I buy my leather from. So I don't really worry about it so much in that sense as I worry more about making sure I know what I'm using is compliant and I know where I got it from. Now, if I need to go track something down, then I can do it. But I just make sure everything I have is compliant. I usually only buy from a handful of places. I don't necessarily go out and shop. I'll do the shopping at first, and then I land on something and I stay there because it just makes my life so much easier. An SGS report. Never heard of that. It's probably, I'm thinking what they're probably talking about is, it's an actual report that they probably show that they either had them tested or something. And if you can get a hold of that, that's fine. They also maybe just have the certificate of compliance with the numbers and everything, the things that we would have to fill out if we ever get asked for one. Those are real simple things. I mean, when you look at them, you're like, oh my gosh, there's so much information on there. No, there really isn't. It's the same. It's pretty much, you just sit and break it down. I mean, you just can't let it overwhelm you. Just look at it, go research it, grab somebody else's for an example, and just fill one out. I mean, it's not that bad. Yeah, I got to see the machine up close and personal on FaceTime, guys. It was cool. I was pretty excited about that. She's got a pretty cool machine there. So yeah, she's got some big plans for that thing too. It's pretty exciting. And she's doing it in an RV, guys. And she has lots of room too. It's pretty cool to watch. And I gotta be careful where I step because Bear Bear's like literally laying at my feet. He always has to be touching me anymore. I know, I just barely move and you're like right there, buddy. So anyway, back to the market. So the good thing about it is, even though it's a juried market, I only had to be accepted once. So I was able to pay for next month that day, and I have priority registration. So now every month I have priority registration by 2 days for before they open it up to new people. And you know they've got so much room where they're at. They could probably really take a whole bunch of people in. I never got to walk around. I was able to leave my booth, but I saw a video on YouTube of somebody walking around, and the video was 20 minutes long, I think. There was that many booths there. He also showed some of the events that were happening. There was some dancing and there was some dunking booths and things like that going on. So they have stuff going on all the time. And there was a lot of people walking around, even though it was really hot. I was really impressed with how many people were there. Towards one-ish, it started thinning out just because it was getting really hot. So I bet like as the weather cools off, then that probably won't happen as much. And it seemed like people were really having a good time. And it didn't hurt that I was by the game truck. So there was a lot of people just coming over there, obviously. And then I had food trucks across from me. That didn't hurt either. Again, I didn't eat because I was so hot. But yeah, it was nice to see a lot of people there. People walking around, taking photos also for like the websites and probably for the local paper, Facebook, whatever. So I saw about 2 or 3 people walking around. One lady tried to take a picture of my booth, but I kept having people like right there, and they were in looking at stuff right when she was around, and she waited for about 5-10 minutes, and then she just finally gave up and left. So I was kind of bummed, but that's okay. I had people looking, and you know when you're selling stuff, you don't want to go, excuse me, I need my picture taken. You don't know that picture is going to get you anywhere. So that was okay, and the setup went well. I was very pleased. I got there not as early as I wanted because I wanted to get there right when they opened. Just since it was my first time there, I just wanted to give myself that kind of time to set up and get there ahead of the crowds and just get comfortable. And I always end up having to do some last minute tagging and stuff like that. So I got there about a half an hour, 45 minutes later than I wanted to, and I still had plenty of time. I was done and had about 45 minutes to go. So that was okay. I was able to kind of sit back and relax and just do what I needed to do. And I had a full booth. It looked good. I was pretty happy considering I had to throw together everything for the booth plus inventory in 4 weeks. So I was pretty happy about that. one of the things I wanted to show you guys was the tags that I did for sublimation for my little loveys. And this light's starting to burn just a little bit. Sorry, guys. Let's see if I can adjust it just a little bit. There, that's a little better. So I did, you can see, I did them down in the corner, and then they come around onto the back. And I'll walk up front and let you guys see them a little closer to the camera here. But it took me a few minutes to figure this out on how I wanted to do it, because you can't really sew them on easily. So I sublimated onto the ribbon on the front and on the back. And you'll see there's my batch number right by USA. Right there's my batch number. So I finally settled on the fact that, and I was doing this at like 1 o'clock in the morning, guys, right before the night before. And this is kind of what I end up doing a lot of times, is tagging the night before late. So I put the heat and bond on the back of the ribbon, and then I pressed the front on. Oh, excuse me, let me step back once. Sublimated the ribbon, put the heat and bond on. Then I pinked the edge so that it would have a nice finish to it. Otherwise, it's going to fray just a little bit. And so I pinked both sides on the end, and then I heat and bond the front onto the lovey, and then I flipped it over and finished it on the back. And it doesn't matter now if it quite matches up or if anything, you know, is layered right or not, because it doesn't matter. You're not sewing it on, so nothing has to match up. So by doing the heat and bond, you can get it as straight as you need to on the front, and then flip it over and do it again on the back, and then it stays. So I was pretty happy with that. And I got a bunch of these loveys done, and they were nice space fillers. And they're, you know, they're not that expensive, but 20 bucks or so. And they're just nice little grab. I've got a grandchild coming. I've got a gift to get. It's just a good price point for that. And it's an unusual, one-of-a-kind kind of thing that they're not going to find at the store. And these are so soft. So this is just fleece on the front and then minky on the back. And this is the minky I got from Walmart. So I'm able to keep my price point down just a little bit because of that. So yeah, these ended up being really fast and really fun. And so I got to use my sublimation machine too. So had a good time with them. Then I did my tags, and I bought a bunch of the Gourd Pins that you see in the store on stuff. Yeah, that light is so bad. I should never have left my ring light upstairs. There we go. Let's see if that helps. Okay, that'll help. So the Gourd Pins, you can kind of see them. And I bought those on Amazon. I think I got, I don't know, a couple hundred for 10 bucks or so. The only thing I don't like about these pins is they're not very sharp on the pin side. And 1, 2 o'clock in the morning when you're doing stuff and it doesn't want to go in, because the pin's not very sharp, and you're afraid you're going to make a hole, is not my idea of a good time. So that's my only thing I don't like about these pins. But other than that, I think they're pretty awesome, and they're not going to rip your stuff apart once they're on there, and it holds your tag really well. So you can, even if you have to replace your tag, it's not a big deal. You just open the pin, replace the tag, and put it back on. So pretty easy on that kind of thing. Then one of the other things that I did as a booth filler, this one got a little wrinkle, I'm gonna have to steam him out, is I made a bunch of the tulle bows, headbands. And I have these in red and white and hot pink, and then this blue. That was the only colors that I got done. Yeah, and so I just used one of the little headbands. These were simple, super simple, guys. These are the little headbands that you can buy that are stretchy. And I just made the bow, and then I just did a loop and pulled it tight. And so you've got a big bow. And then you just pull the loop down so that it sits right in the very middle underneath. So when it goes on their head, it sits straight up. And, you know, these are nice little booth fillers. And you can do these for fairly cheap. So you can sell these fairly cheap and even do a single price and a 2 for price. And as Christmas and all that starts coming around and people are doing pictures, they might pick up 2 or so for different outfits that they're going to have their kids in over the Christmas time, or just for pictures alone. So yeah, I concentrate on getting these done. I didn't sell any, did not expect to this time around, but I had to fill my booth, and I knew I would get these done fast, and I did. I was doing these the night before, and then I finished them up even that morning while I was sitting there. I had probably about 20 of these that I finished in a half an hour. I already had the bows tied. All I had to do was put this on and then put them on the tag, on the selling tag. So super simple, guys. Things like this are easy booth fillers for a first time like market thing. If you're running out of time to getting everything done, start thinking about what can I do also that's going to make my booth look full, even if it's not. So yeah, I really was pleased with these. Anyway, had a lot of people touching them. Didn't sell any, didn't expect to. I think it's going to be Halloween might be a good one too. I might sell some for, like, they'll put them like with their costumes or something too. So this next time, I think people will be thinking a little more Halloween. I also had people asking me if I was bringing Christmas in September already. So I'm thinking hard about what can I do real fast, and I just got to get me some Christmas print. And I can do, you know, a couple sets of bummies or some shorts or something. And at least then, if it's Christmas, it's there and they're looking for it. And I'll have more come October too. But I think that's probably what I need to look at here, because I got 3 weeks, unless I have a market this Saturday I could do that's very local here. It's like 2 miles from me. And thanks, Juana. And I'm thinking I'm going to do it. I haven't committed. It's only $25 to do. It's a car show. But I'm still on the fence. I'm giving myself until probably late tomorrow to really decide. I want to go drive over there and just kind of look. I want to make sure that I'm spending my time wisely, because that will be taking time away from me getting ready for the September market. And I know it doesn't seem like much, but 6 hours is 6 hours on a Saturday, you know? And so I'm probably going to do it though, because I want to they have a regular market every month here that they're trying to get going. Unfortunately, all of them fall on the same weekend as the one that I'm doing right now. Hey, Wendy. Except for the one at the beginning of December, which I definitely want to do because it's a holiday market. So I'm going to do that one. And then the next weekend, I will have the other one that I'm doing right now. So that one's going to be a little crazy in December. 2 weekends in a row is going to be rough. But it's a holiday market, and I really have to do it. So I can't complain when it's $25. And so, yeah. But yeah, next weekend would probably be good. The lady said they'd get about 2,000 people, which surprised me. I didn't expect that many. And this year, I bet they will be pushing that easily, because it seems like everybody's just kind of coming out of everywhere right now. So it probably would be worth my time. I could go at it looking at it like I did last weekend, where if I make my booth rent plus, you know, whatever, $100 would be great. Because when you really break it down, if you're only there for 5 hours, that's $20 an hour. You can't complain on that. And it really wasn't that much work to set up. I had help putting my canopy up, and then the rest was me doing everything. It took longer to set up than take down. I took down and was driving out in 20 minutes. It was fast, and I didn't just take everything and just throw it in something. I neatly placed it in my bin and folded everything up, because getting out was tough. There was a bunch of people trying to all move at the same time, and the cars were everywhere. And so you get your car finally out from where it was at, which took a while. So yeah, that 20 minutes was me getting my car out into traffic and around too. So I loaded, I broke down and loaded probably in 10 minutes. And I wasn't rushing, but I also didn't take my time either, because I could see everybody else was kind of just starting to break down. And when you're at these markets, you kind of got to get really good at engaging opportunities to move around and get in and out. And so I saw the opportunity where it was like, okay, the people that are right over here by me are just starting to load. I'm going to pull up, load. The people behind me are kind of out of the way, taking their time. And so I just kind of went, poof, threw it in the vehicle, and I got out of there. So, hey, Evemar, Evelyn. I got to quit calling you Evemar. I just see your last name is Evelyn. So, yeah, so it was good, though. It was good. It was a lot of fun. Even though it was hot, it was a lot of fun. And I'm excited for next month. Hoping everything I have in my brain will happen, and we will be that much further down the road. But I'm sure it will, now that I don't have to do all the stuff that I had to do last month to get ready. All I have to do is concentrate on getting product done. So what else does everybody know? I know I didn't schedule this one, so I've got to get better about that. And I also need to get back to my sew-alongs with you guys. So I need to start planning those. I might have to do those just once a month instead of every other week while we get through this market time, because the next couple of months are going to be easy money months, and I need to really take advantage of that, just as everybody else should. If you can, get in and get your market and get your product made, and take advantage of the fact that you've got fall and Thanksgiving and Halloween and Christmas, and just really capitalize on it. So unfortunately, that means that I'm going to have less sew with me's, and I'll still do them, but I think I'm going to do one a month instead of every other week. So unless I can get caught up and feel like I'm getting my inventory pretty well in a good rhythm, and I feel like I can do that. So yeah, but the market was good. I was amazed at all the people that brought their dogs. So that kind of sparked a thought that maybe I need to try and capitalize a little bit on those owners as well, and see if we can't get even just bandanas or something for all those people. And I should have known, because San Antonio is a huge dog community. Austin is a huge dog community. So everybody has animals. So I've already had some thoughts about doing it, and I know I've got some ideas in my head the way I can incorporate it into the kids area as well. So I got to mill that around a little bit, and Yeah. So that's the good thing about markets when you go, if you're going to keep going, and I'm probably going to stay at this one even after Christmas. It's I'm kind of looking at it as it's an easy way to have a storefront for a day, and people will come looking for me every month. So, a 5-hour storefront once a month is not a bad thing. And the price is incredibly reasonable. So, really nice. Hey, Adiani. And I'm going to tell you guys too, I loved Zettel. Loved Zettel. The little thing, I don't know, the handheld credit card, whatever you want to call it, machine was the bomb. And I've used Square. Square was okay, but Square doesn't have all the amenities that Zettel had, and Square is just a tiny bit more expensive every month. No, not every month, but every sale. It was about like 0.2% and a penny more to use Square, and it doesn't have all the bells and whistles that the Zettel had. The Zettel, and I left it upstairs where I'd show you guys. You can see it on their website though. If you've never used the PayPal Pay portal or whatever app or whatever, then the Zettel comes in at $29 for the first time purchase, and then anyone after that is $79. But I think if you've already done the Zettel with them, then that they don't consider you a first timer. So I don't know, but anyway, the keypad had a screen on it, and it had the numbers. It had the place where you can put the card in to read the chip. It had a tap to pay. You can take Venmo, so you can print out a QR code also, and you can take Venmo. You can take PayPal, and then you also take the credit cards. You enter your inventory, you hook it up to your phone or your iPad or whatever you're using it on, and then you enter your inventory right there on the little pad. And it was so easy. I mean, I've used Square. You have to go in, and it's kind of easy. Square is easy. I'm not saying it's hard. But it doesn't have all the bells and whistles for $29. You can get the bells and whistles, but it comes at a definitely bigger price. So if anybody's looking, I loved it. It held the charge for the whole day. The only thing I didn't necessarily dislike, but I had to get used to, was every time I went to use it, I had to wake it up, which is okay. The very first time I actually had to restart the app because it kept telling me that there was no connection, and I knew I had a connection because I had just messed with it like half an hour before that. So I had to restart the app, and then it was fine. And then after that, after I kind of got used to it, I figured out how to wake it up. It was kind of tricky the first couple of times when I went to wake it up. I wasn't quite sure what I was doing, and I finally figured, like, push the button really hard or long or something, and then it came back on. Once I figured that out, then everything was smooth. So yeah, it was just those little road bumps of when you're learning something for the first time that was the hardest. But I liked that thing a lot, and I've sold at a lot of markets with Square, and Square was good, but I would always you'd swipe the card on Square, and then you had to go into your iPad or your phone to finish everything else out. Well, I did everything on the handheld device except for when they went to sign it. Then they had to sign on my phone. That was it. So yeah, I totally, hands down, loved it. Let's see what's going on here. I keep seeing things pop up. So yeah, is anybody else looking at doing markets or thinking about that for the fall? Because it is, just think of it, like I said, as a once a month storefront that you only have for, you know, a couple hours. It was really nice. And I'm loving sublimation. It's going really well for the tags. The fact that I can sublimate on my baby shoes on the leather, that right there is worth everything for me. I don't have to embroider on the bottom anymore because it's a permanent mark, which is required. And the embroidering on the bottom took an easy 10 minutes or more if the machine decided to cooperate with me and the thread didn't break and, you know, that kind of stuff. You know what I'm talking about. So the fact that I've tested it and have figured it out, and I can do how many of them on my heat press, oh my gosh, it's just nuts. I am just really excited about just that alone. Are you at work, Ediani? It is Sunday night. And your pictures that you've been posting are just too cute. I'm glad you're doing that. Oh, you are. Well, I'm glad you're posting those pictures though. That's fun. And it's a good kind of like a memory album for you. Oh, cool, Diane. Is it one that you can do again, or is this just a one-time fall market kind of thing? Oh, and Ediani, you've been killing it with those tutus. So exciting to see you finally back doing that. Yeah, you should be getting over probably the worst part of it. Hopefully the rest will be a breeze for you. Oh, it's a one-time, Diane. Okay. Those are great though. Don't get me wrong. Those are great. I'm just so thankful that I was able to find something that I can just kind of settle into. I think that's really what I need was something to keep me on my toes every month. Oh, cool. Good, Eddie. I knew you were working on it. That's awesome. Feels good to get back into it. And pretty soon you'll be able to do your Wednesday nights again. Another 6 months or so. Those were fun. But it was cute though, guys. The comments, some of the comments that people made were so awesome. Yeah, that a lot of us will be doing that with you, yeah, that's okay. Even coffee, yeah. But some of the comments were so cute. A couple of the older ladies came in just because, you know, older ladies just they see something like that and they're like, they just got to come in and ooh and ah. And they were all, yeah, I had it several times. So like, do you make all this? You literally you sewed all this? You know, they were just flabbergasted because they're so probably used to people just purchasing wholesale and reselling. And I had a lot of people tell me how cute the fabrics were. And a couple people even said, where do you get all your fabrics? These are really cute. And so I was like, well, they don't go to Joann's if they don't recognize them, which is cool. That's all good. So yeah, I was really thrilled just to hear the comments. That made all the late nights leading up the last couple of nights so worth it, because I was running on 3 hours of sleep a night for like 2 nights for sure, maybe 3. It was worth it. I was so happy to hear that. And the poor guys that got drug into the booth, the dads or the dads to be, you could just tell the minute they walked in, they were trying to be so supportive, but their eyes were just kind of glazing over, going, "Oh boy, here we go." But the girls that were pregnant that knew they were having little girls, they definitely were just having a good time, just touching everything and showing it to the future dad. And some of the dads would, they'd try and look interested, and others were like, "Oh, honey, that's cool. If you want it, just get it." That was so cute. There was even a couple of girls that had some really tiny ones that were walking around with them. One of them, I think, was just like 2 weeks old or something. I was like, "Oh, bless you for wearing the baby as a papoose when it's 100 degrees out." And she just looked at me like, it's no big deal. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'd be sweating." So what else have people got working on here? Anybody got anything exciting? I know that Etsy seller kind of thing is out there and people are talking a lot about that. Don't let that bother you guys. I know a lot of people are getting really wrapped around the axle on it. Etsy has done lots of stuff like that over the years, and that stuff comes and goes so quickly. So don't get too worried about it. I looked at it and I just kind of shook my head a little bit and went, "Here we go again." And I just ignore it. It means, that kind of stuff means nothing to me. I don't let that make or break my day. I don't necessarily fret over the fact if I'm not meeting everything by their standards, because as far as I'm concerned, especially on the 5-star one, I have customers that will give me 4 stars and leave me a 6-star review, but they'll only give me 4 stars. I can't control that. And the fact that Etsy's going to downgrade me for that kind of bothers me a whole lot. So I don't let that drive me. If I make it, I make it. If I don't, I don't. It's not going to probably make or break anybody's shop. Now, people are probably going to be out there saying, "Oh, yeah, it's because I'm an Etsy seller, I'm a star seller that I'm doing so well." It'll help, but not necessarily that much. You've got to put the work in. You've got to put the product out of there and just concentrate on that. Concentrate on your own customer service, your own things. And hey, Liz, and don't let that stress you out. Just let it be. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And it's not going to break your shop if you don't get it. So there'll be something else that they're going to bring out in a couple of months or next year, and this will go by the wayside. So that's why I don't worry about it. I don't have time. I don't have time. What you got going on, Liz? I'm not gonna make them. I'm just cutting them out tonight, Ediani. Yeah, I figured this is something I could do while I was talking. Yeah, I just brought it up, Liz. I just shake my head at that stuff. It's so wrong. It's just wrong. Let me just put it out there. So yeah, I don't even I just laughed when I saw that come out, and then it was out for probably at least a month or two, and I was like, okay, I better go read what this is all about, so at least I can talk about it if people ask me. So yeah, I laugh. And like somebody said on another chat, they got a spam email. And so since they didn't respond to the spam email, they got, they got a mark because of it from Etsy because, oh, well, you got to respond to all the emails, because that's part of the Etsy Star Seller program. Well, if it's a spam email, you're not going to respond to it, but yet then that hurts them. I don't have time for that. I got other things to do. So yeah. So what's the video about, Liz? Tell us. Inquiring minds want to know. Okay, Eddie. And in all reality, I'm probably going to be one of those that's just going to try and build up my own website. So I don't like putting all my eggs in one basket. And by that, I mean only relying on one platform. So Etsy is one platform. My website would be another platform. My marketplace would be a platform. I like to spread it out. Hey, Joe. So keep thinking, when they tell you about investing and you're not supposed to put all your eggs in one basket, well, you want the same thing for your small business. You don't want all your eggs in one basket, and you also want to 100% be saturated in just one item. So you'll notice a lot of us are starting to broaden. We're seeing either ways to capitalize, add on to items we already have, parts of a market. Maybe excuse me, I just had dinner before I came on, or parts of a market that we feel like we could really dig into that would enhance what we're already doing. Or we've got some people that are stepping out into something completely away. I have two completely separate businesses that do not in any way, shape, or form relate to each other. I could kind of bring them together, and I might, but it's going to be one of those where they're going to do this. And it's never going to be a complete cross because they never could be. But there's parts of each that I could bring in to complement the other one at times. And I will do that. But I'm also going to be looking at, like adding in like on the markets. I'm going to see things that will definitely sell at the market, but I maybe can't do like on an online platform because it doesn't make sense dollar wise. At the markets, I can sell for a less price because I'm not paying fees. I'm not paying shipping because I have free shipping on Etsy, and I also do free shipping on my own website. So that's all a part of online business. So that pumps my price up. And so there's going to be some items that I just literally cannot do online because my profit margin would be like $1 or $2. And it's just like, that makes absolutely no sense.
unless for some reason I'm using it as an item to kind of catch people's attention. And so it would be something that would only be there for a very short time, or anything like that, a marketing piece, that kind of thing. But an item like that, if I take it to a marketplace where I'm in person selling, then I'm no longer paying like the fees and the shipping. And so then that price that I was selling it online, where I'm only making like maybe $1, all of a sudden now I'm making like $6 or $7 on that item because all of that other went away. So then it makes perfect sense. So there's going to be some things like that going on too that you might see in pictures on my booth that you won't see on my online store. So think about that as well when you're looking at trying to figure out how to broaden your either market or your abilities to sell. But always try and figure out ways to not just be in one place. And there's a lot of reasons for that. I mean, we could just do an entire live video just on reasons why you want to do more than one platform. So try and broaden yourself and don't stress about it. You don't necessarily have to have a ton of product if you want to go do a market. You just got to learn how to fluff your booth, is what I call it. So by fluffing, and that's a visual merchandising term, because I used to be a visual merchandiser, fluffing means making the amount of product that you have look like a lot when you don't have much. And we do that, and you'll see that in stores all the time, where they will have a display and there's like, you first walk up and go, that's really cool. And then all of a sudden you start really, there's not much here. Well, they got you over there though, because it looked like there was a lot. They had some excitement going or whatever. That's fluffing. And so to get you through like your first one or two markets, because maybe like mine came up with it was just an off the cuff decision. I was like, I'm just going to Google and see if there's any markets out there I don't know about, because I really only knew about a couple. And I know down here, flea markets, craft markets, vendor markets are like all the time. So I knew there had to be something I was missing. And this one popped up like right away, and I hadn't even heard of it. And I looked at it and I got really excited really quick and wanted to go see it in person, but it was like 3 days from the time I saw it. And I had things going on and I could not go over there. So I had to blindly apply for the next month, because when I saw it, I was like, I've got to get into this one. This is the time of the year, and this is the one, because they were like 150 vendors and all this food and all these activities. Most of the markets around here, they're awesome, but they don't have that kind of stuff going on. And then the entrance fee was really good, and the fact that they juried. I mean, it was just the more I read, just ticked every box that made me go, this is something I got to be a part of. So I was like, okay, done it before, we'll do it again, where short time and you have to make things happen. So I knew I had a month, and I just had to sit and wait for them to send me my acceptance. And they were kind of had made it sound like if I hadn't heard from them in like about 2 or 3 days. And it was really more like a week. And so I lost a week. I was like, oh my gosh. So it's all good. But yeah, I was like, I got my acceptance and I'm like, and the clock starts now. Let's go. So it was good. That's all right, Liz. We get it. I know, mom life. Mom life. I'm glad you stopped by. And I'm sure I'll run into you this week. Hopefully you'll have another live. I can come and join you. So have a good evening, girl. So anyway, that was, I can't say enough good things about it. It was just, there was so many booths there though, too, when I got there, that were very scant. I guess is the word I'm looking for. And they weren't necessarily, not every single one that I'm talking about was a true product selling booth. Some of them were. And oh, good night, Diane. So some of them were. And that kind of, and I saw that, I was like, oh, you need just a little bit more, because it looked already shopped and they hadn't even started yet. But I get, it takes money, it takes everything, so I get it. And then the others that were there were like representing health insurance or stuff like that. So all they did was they just set up a table, put a tablecloth on, and they had a couple of things sitting there, and then that was it, so that was kind of scant too. But that's all they needed. So it made me feel at least a little better. like my presentation was a little stronger when I had a scant booth on each side of me. So that was okay. I was all right with that. One of them was a sewing booth and one of them was not. So it was all good. But for the most part, I think my presentation and the amount of stuff I had was about average for most booths. From what I saw when that guy walked around with the YouTube, I was able to really get a good look at the types of booths. A lot of them were food. I was surprised. A lot of them were food, because they kind of really emphasized that the pandemic stuff, and they really didn't want you handing out food samples. And the way these people handled it was really well. I was very surprised that they had, the samples, any samples they had was in a closed container. So it was already like a prepackaged kind of thing. So that was really good. And I was like, that was really smart. There was a cookie vendor there, and they had the cookies already in pieces in what looked like a little hot sauce container. It has the plastic with the plastic lid you take off. And so you just took it with you. You just grabbed it and you walked away. So I was like, that's an ingenious solution to getting around this whole, you can't hand out food, that's opened. And it was basically what they were saying. They didn't want any open food unless you were a food vendor. So like the food trucks and stuff like that. So that was really good to see. These guys are really, really smart. And we have a lot of salsa vendors there, which is normal. And I don't know how they got around that, because I wasn't able to see how they got around the tasting, because you've got to taste the salsas down here. Everybody's salsa is different, and you will either, find one that you absolutely love, or one that you're like, yeah, it's okay, but that's not my bag. And a couple more booths, and you'll probably find one that you're just like, yeah, and that's the one I want. So I don't know how they did that. I wasn't able to, but yeah, if you guys ever get a chance, if you're visiting in the area, in the San Antonio area or whatever, and you get a chance to go to a flea market, just a farmer's market, anything like that, you have to go. It is some of the best food you will ever have. They have, we had tamales there, we had burritos there. And these weren't the food trucks. These were the actual vendors yet. What else? The salsa. What else did I see? There was cookies and brownies, and definitely southern and southwestern dessert kind of stuff. So you would see a lot of things with chilies and things like that on it. And those are all good. You got to be a little adventurous, but they're very good. I'm trying to think. And I'm not from down here, so that's the northerner saying these are really good guys. What else did I see? Obviously the snow cones, cold drinks. I don't know that I saw that they have down here. You'll see a lot of the waters that have fruit in them, and they're a fresca water. It's definitely a Mexican kind of thing, and they're so good. And they're super cold. They keep ice in them and everything, and they make them up just far enough in advance that the fruit flavors really get into the waters. They are so good. And I try to make them and I get really close, but there's just something, I don't know what they do, whether they have a way that they squish it. Eddie probably knows the way that they squish it or the way they prepare it, but it really gets that fruit flavor into the water. And it's just so amazing. And I go home and I make it and I'm like, I'm almost there, but it's missing something. So yeah, I really enjoy those. A lot of times too, in your hotels, they will have those sitting out for you to just enjoy. When it's really, really hot, they'll have a big container of that kind of water and then the glasses and stuff. And I'm always like, can I just take this to my room? I really like those. So yeah, you just got to really take advantage of getting into what they have to offer at wherever you're at for the markets. So each area of the US, you're going to be able to taste the local flavors, and the farmer markets are the best place to do that. Yeah, I'm hoping next month I'll be able to wander, even if it's just for a few minutes. I would really like to be able to do that, to be able to get away from my booth, even if it's just when people are setting up, so that I can just wander around. But if there's 150 people, I'm gonna have to like sprint to see it all, because some people are inside, and then we have like 2 or 3 big outside areas. So I would definitely get my steps in for the day, that's for sure. I have really got to get a better way. I have used this system for my shoes for 10 years now. And I do this every time. I'm like, I know it's in here. I know it's in here. Where is it? And I end up dumping it half the time just to find what I'm looking for. And that one is missing. Great. How are you doing tonight? I know I have that. Plus it's Sunday night, so this thing's playing with me. So is everybody starting to plan their Christmas items? Because you really got to start thinking about those things now. I know everybody's thinking Halloween, but you pretty much have to bring your Halloween and your Christmas out at about the same time. Because I know a lot of people, when they're planning, because like pictures, family photos, and all that for Christmas, a lot of times happen in October. So you've really got to get your thoughts for what you want to do for things like that if you're going to go after that market, and get those. I would have anything that you want to have up early enough for like photo ops and stuff like that. I would have those up no later than the end of September. So yeah, get your mock-ups done, whatever, and get those up and make that a priority for anything that you want to do for the photo stuff. And then bring your other stuff in after. So get all that completely up, and then you can go work on, if you're not looking at something for use for a photo prop or an outfit or whatever, and you want to concentrate on other things, then that's a secondary. But I don't usually go after the stuff for the photos. So I'm more into I don't really have to have my Christmas stuff up probably until beginning to second week in October is kind of what I shoot for. If I can get there sooner, great. But That's usually about when it seems like it happens for me. And I don't, in the past, I have not done a huge amount of Christmas stuff. I could, but I would always run out of time. So I kept it small. And then that way, also when I pulled them down after Christmas, I didn't have like, oh, great, I just lost a third of my shop and I got to have something to replace it, you know, because all of a sudden you've got a shop that has all these items and then you pull that down and you're like, whoops, I wasn't planning on that happening. So, yeah, I will get there now that I will be getting ready more for the Christmas market in December. For both of those areas, I might have more Christmas stuff this year than usual just because I will be making items for that. So I can just go ahead and quick like photograph them and put them up. So I don't know that that's going to be as much of a concern this year, which is good. And I took a very indulgent nap yesterday and never came out of it. I was able to finish the purse that I showed you guys, which was one of the items I really wanted to get done yesterday. And I knew it was going to take me a while just to kind of sit and fuss with it. So it was perfect for putting on a movie and being, you know, just kind of chill because of the nap. So that worked out really good. But I was done with the purse way faster than I thought it was going to be. And I really should have worked more. But I was just kind of in that, I wasn't sleepy, but I also wasn't motivated because I had taken such a good nap. And I needed the nap, but I was like, oh boy, yeah, tonight's gone. So I didn't get as much done yesterday as I was hoping. What am I making tonight, Nina? I am making some of my baby shoes. I did not get any made for the market, and I really want to take some to the market with me. So I figured doing the soles would be easy to do while we chatted tonight. So that's what I'm working on right now. Do you guys see that? And she's gone now, but do you see those sequin shoes that Liz is doing? Those are pretty sweet. I couldn't believe that. Those were really awesome. Oh, you did, Pia? How did it turn out? I'm sure awesome. Tell us about it. What does it look like? So is anybody on here planning, and I don't know if you're in the area, that's why I'm just asking, going to the Stitch show that Angela's going to be in out in Jersey? I know it's probably just a, if you're in the area kind of thing. Oh, please do, Pia. I want to see it. I know there's one coming up in Fort Worth, and Pia, is that the one you're going to? Is the one that's going to be in Fort Worth? I have not had a chance to catch up with you yet on that, because I thought about it again the other day when I saw an advertisement for it, and I think it was because I had clicked on the one that Angela is going to be at, and I was just kind of curious what, I just wanted to see the website and who was going to be there and what it was all about. And it seems like it's very similar to some of the quilt markets and stuff that I've been to as well. So it's just more for the embroidery and embellishment kind of thing. Okay, that is the one. Okay. And that's next month, isn't it? Isn't that in September? What date is that? Because I'm afraid it's the weekend I've got market. Because it just kind of dawned on me, and I looked at that and went, no, that's September already. Oh, I was thinking, for some reason, I was thinking it was November.
Yeah, what day? Is it the second weekend, Pia? Is it the 11th? The weekend of the 11th?
For some reason, the 9th is sticking in my head. Yes. Okay, shoot. That's my market weekend.
Ugh. Oh, bummer. Yeah, for some reason, everything gets planned on the second weekend of the month. It never fails, and I don't know why that is such a popular weekend, but it is. So, oh boy. Well, let me think about it. Because that's not very far away. That's only a couple weeks away. Okay. I really wanted to go to that. Oh, Pia, that is beautiful. That is so, so pretty. I love it. It's so different too. I love it. Oh my gosh. Can I show? Can I show it to everybody? Okay, cool. I don't like to show unless I ask, you know. Okay, so this is a placemat that she made, Christmas placemat. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And I love the shape. That is just so pretty. And then all the little designs all the way around. Really cool. And I bet I could see a plate sitting right on that too. That would be so stunning. Yeah, I think it is classic. I love the shape. It is so cool. It is really, really pretty. Good job, girl. Please don't tell me you were playing Christmas music while you did this. Yeah, guys, this is how you get your stuff shared. You just send me a picture and I'll share it with everybody. Oh, you're kidding me. 68 color changes. Oh my gosh. How long did that take? Yeah, that's definitely not one you're going to want to sell. That's an heirloom. An hour and 40 minutes. That's less than I thought with that many color changes. I mean, yeah, each one of those little guys was small, so it wouldn't take long to stitch, but yeah, keep changing those colors. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That was beautiful though. It was worth the time. And I bet you enjoyed it though. Oh, that's right. You do have a Milko. I knew that. I knew that. I knew that. Okay. All right. So it wasn't quite so bad. So I can imagine how long that would take on a single needle. that could be several days on a single needle. Yeah, I know. I was too, Annie, until she said that. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Oh my goodness. Okay, speaking of Melcos, you know me. I'm always looking just because it's fun to look. So I was looking on Craigslist yesterday actually, and I'm just getting on there going, I wonder how many people are starting to sell their embroidery machines just because I knew, with the way they bought them and everything and got crazy about them. And then going back to work, they're going to start selling them. So there wasn't that so much. There was a few. I mean, I'm starting to see some of the PE 800s hit, but I've also seen where some people had said a store or a warehouse had gotten broke into and stolen. And so a couple of these PE 800s made me wonder if they were part of that because they were like trying to sell them for $300 in the box. And I was like, oh, no, I'm not sure I'm trusting that, but I'm seeing, the 770s and the 800s come in at about 600 or so. So that's true. That I would believe. So there was a shop here, I think in San Antonio, that is selling off their inventory. And I did not inquire because I have no way of, yeah, see, this is where I'm going, Ediani. I had no way to even begin to know what I would do with it, but they had 11 Melcos, varying styles. Most of them were about 7 years old, 6 years old, that they had bought brand new. And so they were selling all of those. It was a business. And they were either changing business or I can't remember. And some of the Melcos they had were older, some were newer, 6, 7 years old. And they had a price of 8,500 on there. And they said something about can sell separately if want or something. And I doubt they wanted 8,500 for all 11. But I'm looking at that going, if that was 8,500 for all of those, and I'm missing out on this because I'm not believing this, oh my gosh. So yeah, I don't know what that was, but I'm assuming that at 8,500 each, but I could be wrong. So I read that several times and I really couldn't tell by the way they had that what they meant by it. But still, even if you could get in there and get, make a deal on two of them even and say two for this price, I'll offer you, you could probably really get a good deal. And they looked like they were in great shape. They showed every single one of them and everything. They looked, a couple of them you could tell were old. They were definitely old, but they you could see they were using them still for their business. So that says something for the Melco, at least, if nothing else. But yeah, they had them all threaded up, and it's like, oh, opportunities happen when you least expect it. Yeah, they will, Pia. They definitely will. That's the one thing I remember about like the state fairs and all that when I was growing up. Because my uncle, those of you that know this story, my uncle was a sew and back store owner, and so he always had the machines and everything, and he would sell new ones as well, and then fix the ones that need to be fixed, and then he also would buy used ones and sell the used ones after he fixed them. He was always at the state fairs, and he would have machines there, and he would have show specials, and I mean, 2 weeks of his life was spent living at the state fair. Oh my gosh, I don't know how he did it. It was like morning till night, and it was just him and my aunt. I don't think he had any people working for him. I don't remember. I was pretty small.
I don't 100% remember. He might have had somebody working for him because I can't imagine. I know he was at the fair though all the time because I remember him talking about it. We'd go to the fair and we'd see him, and I think it was just him and my aunt. And my aunt had MS, so she was always in a wheelchair in the booth. And I don't know what she did. I don't remember because I never saw her working. I was always talking to her or whatever. So, but yeah, yeah, he would have show specials. And I remember walking around in that building, and that was my favorite building because all the sewing machine people were there and all the gadget people were there, and they all had specials going on and stuff. So that was hard. And it was a good thing I was a kid and didn't have any money because I would have gone home broke. So, off topic, and I've been raving about this to everybody this weekend. So, they had shown a pan-seared salmon that she had been making. I'd seen some pictures of it, and those of you that know Faye, she's a really good cook from what we can see in the pictures. She always comes up with these beautiful, beautiful things. And then she'll send us pictures and it makes us all hungry. And she's like, oh, it's really easy. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's like a five-star dinner. So she inspired me to try pan-seared salmon, which I had never done before because it just hadn't thought of it. It was just like, duh, of course. And because I always did mine, in the oven, I would always, bake it and do that kind of stuff. And it was really good that way. But the pan-seared that I made this weekend, it had a honey garlic butter sauce. Oh my. Let me tell you, that sauce was so easy, and doing the pan-searing was so easy. And when you just cook for yourself, and then you get like this package of frozen salmon. I know it's not fresh. Shame on me. I know, but this was special that I bought through Imperfect Foods, which I love Imperfect Foods right now. I'm eating so much better just because I am buying through them as much as I can, and it's not costing me anything more than if I would go to the grocery store. So anyway, I ordered some of their salmon because they had Alaskan salmon and sockeye salmon. And I thought, oh, I'm just going to try it. Yeah, I can get fresh salmon at the grocery store, and it's not that bad of a price, but the price that they had on that was really good. So I bought that, and, it comes to where it serves 4. Well, that was a little iffy, 3 maybe, because there was a couple of smaller pieces, which is why Imperfect Foods had it, because there were smaller pieces with some of the bigger pieces. And I'm fine with that, because for me, when it's just me cooking for me, some nights I'm hungry and I want the big piece, and other nights, no, I just want the little piece. So I'm not huge on reheating salmon. It's just not something I like the taste of. And I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to have to deal because I can't refreeze the salmon and cook it later. Oh, wow. That pan-seared salmon, reheated even, was so good. And it was because it was pan-seared. That you just kind of, I zapped it in the microwave for like about 40 seconds, just enough to heat it up. It was so good. It was not tough. Didn't taste funky, which sometimes when I cook it in the oven, it'll taste funky. And even if I go to the restaurant, and if I have some that I bring home, I still think it tastes funky, and it's because it's made in the oven. And I realize I really think that's the deal. When you pan-sear it, it takes away a lot of that. And then I got the skin off the bottom, which helped too. And then that sauce, oh my gosh. And then I made quinoa to go with it. And so the whole combination, I had 3 meals out of that thing. And every meal I was like, I can't believe I made this. This was so easy. So easy. So I stepped out and it was fun. It was fun. And then Faye's going to make me step out on some, she did white cod. And I've got some mahi mahi that I bought also from Imperfect Foods. So I'm going to be stepping out with her recipe on that. That looks really good. It's a tomato basil butter. I don't know. She sent us the recipe. It looks really good. So yeah. So off topic, back to food. I've been talking about food a lot tonight between the market and all this. And I ate. Trust me, I ate today. I'm not standing here hungry. So yeah. I'm very fussy about how I cut these, which is what you guys are seeing right now. This part I'm really fussy about. And I've just learned over the years it matters. So. Oh, Tasha, you saw that. Awesome. I was hoping you saw that. I don't know how many pairs to make. Because this is going to be a one item. I don't know. It'll either sell really well or it won't sell at all. Because it sells well online. So I don't know. Oh, no big deal. I just wasn't certain if you saw that. Yeah, it was really pretty. So yeah, I'm really excited about the ideas that these people were asking me for at oh, thanks, Sarah. I think they will. It's just the price point. It's going to be a little higher because remember I was doing the $15 and below is where I was trying to keep the bulk of it at. And these are, since these are going to be the leather ones, they're going to be up in the 20s. They're going to be up in the higher 20s. So yeah, they might. It's just hard to tell. But yeah, the ideas that they were giving me were really awesome. And it wasn't so much that they were giving me ideas as it was questions they were asking me. Like, do you have this? Do you have that? And I was like, no, but I will, because it was one of those where the minute they would ask, and if people ask you these questions, act like, yeah, how did you know I was going to bring that next month or the month after? Because that is what I needed to hear. And it was generic enough stuff. Like, they're looking maybe for a certain size. One of the things one of the ladies asked for, and I totally, yeah, they will, Sarah, absolutely. I totally didn't think about it. So guys, think about this. And Sarah, you're already capitalizing on this for us. One lady came in and she's like, so I have a boy and a girl twin. Do you have anything in a print that's the boy print with the matching print in a girl color? or vice versa. And I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. And Sarah had been doing this, and it still was like, oh. And I was like, of course, duh. I mean, duh. Because she picked up the koala bummies, and she goes, like this, but the koala's in pink for a girl. And I was like, of course. So think about that. Yeah, your dinosaur print, Sarah. So think about that even for your shop, that they want the matching items, but they don't want them to be the same color because it's a boy and a girl. So they want a girl color and a boy color, but the same print. So I was like, okay. So I tucked that away. I didn't say, yeah, I'll be bringing that, but I had a lot of people asking for like either certain sizes, which were like the 2 to 3 size, which I was dabbling. Do I go above a 2? Should I go up to about a 4 or 5, which I still kind of want to? And so I said, yeah, I'll be having bigger sizes, in the next couple of months. I'm just still trying to get my inventory, made up and get going. So that kind of solidified for me. I had just a few people ask for that. And I saw just enough older kids in that size range walking in with mom to look. And I was like, yeah, I've got to carry that. And then it wasn't that much actually, Sarah, so I didn't have to really write it down. Otherwise, yeah, I would have. And then the other thing they asked for was more boy items, which is always a thing. And I thought I had more boy stuff on the table. And then I started looking around going, oh yeah, those didn't get finished because I ran out of time. And the girl stuff got finished early. So that one was an easy, yeah, I'm going to have the bear print and the raccoon face next month. They're not done. They got halfway there. They will be here next month. And then I will have other stuff as well. So that wasn't a total, oh, there we go. I kind of knew I was going to get a lot of the boy stuff. So I was excited to keep hearing that. And my boy stuff sold really well. Really, really well. In fact, I think I sold, out of all the items, I'm trying to think, I had 4, 5, 6, 7. I probably sold like about 10 or 12 pieces. And I think maybe only 2 or 3 were girl items. The rest were all boy stuff. So, yeah. Oh, Sarah, that's going to be cute. Airplane and clouds. That's going to be really, really cute. So, and then the Christmas. The lady asked for the Christmas. So that was the requests that I had. And the lady that asked for the Christmas was one of the vendors because she came over early and she fell in love with my sloth harem pants. And she's like, okay, I got to go make sure I sell something first. And then if I sell something, I'll come back and get them. And at the end of the day, she came back and she bought the harem pants. And then she asked if I was going to be bringing Christmas prints next month. She was the one that wanted them next month. So I was like, okay, let me work on that one. I was like, yeah, I do need to bring those, don't I? So boy stuff is always so difficult to find. And cute boy stuff is really difficult to find. So yeah, I really want to capitalize on that at the market for sure. Oh, sorry. No, it stuck up on me. So that's where my focus is going to be, is the Christmas and the boy stuff. And then I'm also going to try and do, if I have time, that might be more October, November, start incorporating the prints that could be a boy and a girl. And so that one I think is going to be a little bit more down the road, just because I don't know. I'll sell it, but I don't know that I will sell it like this so much that it matters, that it comes to the forward. It matters more that I get the Christmas and the boy stuff and the bigger sizes going. I definitely want to, though, capitalize on the dresses as I get closer to like November, and get some girl dresses like for the holidays with maybe the matching bows and shoes and stuff, and do a couple of grandma wants to buy her granddaughter a cute little Christmas outfit or something. So capitalize on a full outfit and have a handful of those, knowing I'm probably not going to sell the full outfit together, but maybe once or twice. I don't know, maybe by then I'll have a following. And, because that's several months down the road yet. I could have a following by then, and I could do better on the sets. And I'll do the same with the boys, where I'll put a couple of boys' outfits together, not necessarily dressy like the girls' dresses, because I know you're going to dress the girls up a little bit more than the boys. The boys are going to be more of a khaki pant or khaki short or something, like that, and then a cute shirt and a pair of shoes. So that's milling around up here, and that's always been my plan. I do have a reindeer and a Santa Claus mock that I want to make and take, and that would be part of the set as well as a single. So that's kind of why I'm cutting these out too, because I'm like, well, if I start doing things like that, I need to kind of plan further down as well. Yes, all the matching prints as well, Sarah C. Yep. You are definitely, you got it, girl. You've got it figured out. So, yeah. So those, that was all that information. Just, I came home and it was all I could do. I was tired. I was so tired, but I was so pumped up that I was like, if I'd had even 4 hours of sleep last night and 4 hours the night before, I'd probably go downstairs and start working some more, just because I'm that excited. And I was home by 3:30. So it wasn't like my day was gone. I loved that it was 9 to 2. It was so awesome. I didn't lose my whole day, even though I was up at 5:30. I was up at 5 because I wanted to be there. I wanted to get there at 6 when they opened the doors, just because it was my first time. I won't need to do that. Next time I'll probably try and get there between 6:30 and 7, just so I beat the rush and I can just be completely unloaded, have the canopy up, and then just be putting the rest of it together while everybody else is trying to get in and unload and all that. So that way I'm in my own little area by then, and I've got time to just kind of relax and put everything together, because that's half the fun of it, is putting your booth together. And I wasn't 100% sure how it was going to go together. I don't worry about that stuff, just because, like I said, I used to do that for a living. So I had an idea. I had a whole bunch of display type items with me, because that's how I work best. When I start setting up my booth, I kind of start with what I know. I start with what I know is going to go exactly where it's going to go. And my two models here, I'll show you. I actually still have the dress. So this was one of them. I had my hand-dyed onesies with me. So this was one of my little girls. And then I had this little guy with me. And so I knew they were going to be my focal point. And with that, I set up the booth with my, so I did them like, it kind of worked out so they were like this. And they were tiered. So I set up the booth tables, and at first I was planning on setting them up as a U, because I wanted to be behind first product to take up the full 10 by 10. So I knew it was going to be pushed forward. And then I also wanted to be behind, because I'm still kind of keeping a distance. I had my mask and everything with me, and we're not a true hotbed down here, but we're not exactly light either. So I was like, yeah, let's not push it. So I'm going to keep the product and the table between me and the people. And that was my whole intent of setting up my booth. And then from then on, I was going to figure it out as I went. And by setting these guys up on the table, so if you go back to my pictures, you'll see how I set it up. I had a wooden crate that I set at an angle that spanned from one table to another, so it took up a corner that didn't have anything under it to support, to put anything on, and I instantly solved that by putting that crate across, and then it gave it at an angle, allowed me to put him on top of the crate and then rest her up against him while he was up about, I think he was up about this far. And then it allowed me to put all the harem pants to that side, all the bummies to this side. So when you merchandise, you want to have whatever is on a model right there. So this one went right there. This one went right there. Because people, when they walk in and they see it, this is what's drawing them into your booth. And that's the piece they want to find most of the time. So I had that there, and then that started my layout of my booth for me. So then I laid all the harems out and all the bunnies out. Now you can do this however you want, and every way is right, so it does not matter. You can do them by size, you can do them by style, and then size within the style. Or you can do them like, you can lay your, if you have tops to go with, you can lay these with the tops that go with, and then this top probably goes with another one, so then you lay the other ones on the other side, and then you got other tops that go like with this one and maybe another one, and then so you set the outfit out that way too. There is no wrong way. You just figure out a way and stay that way. And so then the bummies were that, the bummies I did all by pattern. And then the sizing, you either start small to big or big to small. Doesn't matter. There's not a wrong way. Just always do it the same. So that way, if they're shopping across, they know all down here is the same size, all up here is the same size. And so they just have to pick where they're going. And then on the other side of the bummies, or on the other side of the harems, I had all of my hand-dyed onesies, bodysuits. So I could have mixed the bodysuits in with the bummies, and I might do that next time, and just to kind of change it up. So then that took care of all of this. And then I had a big wooden clothes dryer, big. My girlfriend had a really big one. And so I took advantage, set that up, kind of pulled my table so it wasn't exactly straight across. It kind of came swung back just a little bit so I could set that in the gap between this table and that table. And I had all of my loveys and my blankets hanging there so that took up a lot of space visually. And it ended up being like about this tall. Like, okay, so I'm 5'4", so it was probably about 6 feet tall. So that was another focal point in a corner to catch people's eyes. And then on the other side of that, all the bows that I had made. And then I had one more display piece that held up. I think I stayed up and finished, and I just had to tag and snap my bandana bibs. So yeah, that's the other thing I was doing really late that night, because I wasn't going to take them, and then all of a sudden I looked at that and went, all they're missing is snaps and tags. You have to do it. That was 12 pieces. So I made myself stay up and do it, and I knew it would fill the booth. That's all I was going for. I wasn't planning on them selling. I didn't care if they sold or not. Had I not stayed up late and did those and the bows, that whole side of my booth would have been empty. So I was able to fluff it really well by using display pieces to pick it up and just kind of drape stuff across. So it looked very full. And it all just came together on its own. Now, next time, probably won't do it that way. I'll do it a completely different way, because I'm going to have more items. I'm going to be able to hang stuff up more. Also, on the sides, I've got big S hooks that my girlfriend had that I can hang off of my canopy to hang bars on, so that I can do more of a hanger effect, a clothesline effect, that kind of stuff. So I've got a lot of growth, while still, if I don't quite get there, okay, we can still just fluff it out and make it look full still. So it's a process, but don't necessarily sit and really get engrossed with, I've got to have this completely laid out before I go. Just go with your focal points. And my only focal point I had was these. And I knew when I walked in, it would build from there. And I knew I wanted these guys to be my focal point because they were dressed and I wanted them to have something that would catch people's attention. So I knew sloths were hot. I could have also put the avocados on because that's a big thing too. I knew the bumblebees were a big thing right now. So I chose those. I could have put the koalas on, but I wanted a girl outfit and a boy outfit. Next time I might just do all boy outfits and just let the people find the girl stuff because they're going to find it regardless and go from there. I also know I have a third one and I couldn't find him. I wonder if he's upstairs, but I have one more. So yeah, I was dressing these guys at the last minute going, where is my third one? And I thought he was laying up here, but he's not, unless he's behind my stuff over there. So anyway, but the piece that I took to help fluff, you recognize this? If you look back over there, that's what this is that insert that goes into those cubes. So I took it and I set it like this on the table and then I just draped over. So I would have been able to fill this if I needed the room, but I didn't. I had a feeling I wasn't going to. I just took a couple of bows and just kind of covered right here so it looked intentional. But up here was the bibs, and they just kind of laid over and you could see every single print and you didn't even have to touch them. You could just see them. So it worked out really well. I was pretty stoked that it looked as full as it did, considering when I was packing everything up, I'm like, okay, I know this stuff is small, but this is all I'm taking. All the products in here. And I'm like, oh my. I don't know. And I filled it. I was shocked. So yeah, it's all a matter of just don't stress about it, guys. And the more I thought about it too, when I was setting up and I saw everybody else setting up and a lot of people had like very little that they were setting out, I was like, okay, I feel a whole lot better right now because I know I've got more than that. So look around you for displays, and it doesn't necessarily have to scream display. If it screams take me, you'll figure it out when you get to your booth if you're going to use it. I had this that I put the bows in that my girlfriend had given me to use. I had, there's some galvanized big buckets back there, the oval ones. I took them, I knew I probably wouldn't use them, but I actually put my sacks and my tissue paper in there. So that worked out really well. And I had a lot of sacks and tissue paper, so that held those super. I had a whole bunch of other stuff that I took too. And they just sat underneath the table because I was like, well, I don't know if I'm going to need them or not, but I'm going to have them there. And you never know. Sometimes something just happens where you're glad you brought it because it helped fill something up. So I ended up using at the last second, I was like, oh yeah, I probably need to figure something out to put on the tables. So I was just grabbing white yardage. I didn't have special tablecloths or nothing, and it was just raw edged. And so I had a white, an off-white, and then I had kind of a flannel backed that was an off-white. And I just draped them over and folded them kind of back up and left the raw edges up on the table or under, however you feel. And the rest of it gets covered up and it did the job. It was fine. So look around you. You've probably got more than you realize when it comes to putting together your displays in your booths or wherever you're going to be for the moment. help, just hangers even, and clothesline. Take some rope and some clothespins, and you can really make things look like they're taking up a lot of room by doing that. So you just look around. You've got so many things that you don't realize you can use that are displays. I painted a step stool white. I didn't take it this time. I'm going to take it next time. And I'm going to just take pieces of board and stick it through. And then they're going to be long shelves. So I'll have two for that. And then on the top, I can set one of these. You can take even just a regular stool and set it up, drape something over it. And then that would give you some height, product, a display guide, anything. And it's all about doing this. You don't want this. If it's completely flat, I guarantee you people will look and keep on going. You've got to get your different elevations and your different textures. That alone is going to make your booth very interesting and make people want to go in and at least look and see what's going on. They'll at least stop and look instead of just doing the quick walk by and glance and keep on going, you know. I had a lot of people that you could tell were not necessarily looking for kids stuff, but they at least slowed down and looked. So it told me I was catching their attention somehow. Yep. Yep. You got it, Sarah. Just, you know, you guys have everything that you've got around you. It's more just pick a color, because I decided I was going to go with white. I wanted everything to be white if possible. And then that way the product stands out. And then at Christmas or Halloween or whatever, then I can use lights or decorations or whatever to kind of change the mood just a little bit if the product isn't doing it. There's all kinds of stuff that you've got around if you pick a color and you start looking at everything. I was amazed what I was grabbing at the last second, because I thought, oh my gosh, I just don't have anything. I really don't. And why did I pick white? And then I turned around and I'm like, well, there and there and there and there. And then I was like, well, of course, way more. And then I broke my rule and added the metal, only because my girlfriend had all that stuff from when we were doing the fiber shows. And so we had all the galvanized metal stuff. Oh, perfect. You know, that's still a neutral enough background. So white and silver was fine. And it looked really good. The little bit that I used of the silver, I'm hoping to be able to use more of the buckets and stuff, this next time, and really fill some of those up too and bring that in, just a little bit more. I also had a tri-level display that she had. It's outside my storage bin. So it was real light and it folds up. So when you open it, it kind of creates an X with a arched edge. So it's like this arched X with a handle, a rounded handle. And then you put these metal baskets, 3 of them, 1, 2, 3, and then that's what stabilizes it. So I was able to use that as well for some of the bummies that were, I had, like my 3 to 6 month were my samples that I used for my Etsy shop. So I had a bunch of prints in that I did not have made in all the other sizes yet. So I used that to do that size. And then that way the mishmash stayed in that instead of on my table distracting, because my table had clearly, here's this pattern, here's this pattern, here's this pattern. And then all of a sudden I would have had, and it would have been noise. It would have been visual noise, and it would have distracted from everything. And so it worked out that I brought that. And so I set that literally right in front of where all this was going on so that people weren't tripping over it, but yet they could still see it. And I actually sold 2 items off of that. So I was pretty excited about that it was, it did work out better than I thought. Didn't think I was going to use it for anything until I got there and started realizing I had visual noise going on. So had to take care of that. Anything, but don't get Sarah, I'd be really careful about decoration. That's the only thing I'm gonna caution you on. Don't decorate with pieces unless it adds to your display. You don't want to visually fight your product. That's the only reason I caution you with that, because sometimes when you're decorating, your eye goes to the decoration rather than to the product. So try and use your product as a decoration if you can. And there's times when it's going to work. So I'm not going to say it's a hard and fast rule. I'm just going to say when you step back, kind of ask yourself if you've added something in. Is it adding, or is my eye only going there? So, and if you don't know, just ask somebody, that's either standing by you, or if you brought somebody with you, like, hey, is that like yelling at you? Is that making you go, look at me? Or is it just enhancing what I put on top of it? So there's so many times when less is more when it comes to display. So we try to think we've got to do these big elaborate things when really you don't. It's more of a level thing. Get things down here, get things up here, get things down in front, get things up a little higher. Make the people look around and try and carry your coloring even. Light to dark is one way to do it. Light to dark is another way to do it. Maybe even just right here, light to dark, light to dark. There's ways to get your eyes to look through things, and the people don't even realize that you're engaging them and moving them around your displays, your booth, whatever. And it's all just a matter of playing around with stuff. So if you have time, get there early. That's why I like to get there early, because I will set up my booth, and first time I do it, I'll just put it up there how I think it's looking good from here. But then I walk back and I'll stand back outside of my booth and look at it. And every single time I'll go up and move a few things, because up here it looked great, but the people are coming from back there. So back there, yeah, it was probably okay, but I was like, nah, let me try it over here. So I tried it over there and I'd go back. No, I'm going to put it back. Or nope, that worked. It instantly just drew my eye around instead of my eye going, oh, stops here when I need my eye to keep going. So play around with stuff. And I think once you guys start really thinking about some of that, I think you're going to realize, oh, it's not that hard. It really isn't as hard as it seems. So less is more at the beginning as you play around with this stuff a little bit. And if you want to mock it up at home, go for it. Yeah, if you feel uncomfortable and don't want to try and deal with it right then and there. And if you're going to do that, then what I do is go ahead and mock it completely up, set it up, and then take pictures, so that that day, if you want to set it up exactly, then you've got that picture right there, and anybody can help you. You're going to be like, here's how my booth is going to look. Here's the pictures. Go. You take that side, I'll take this side. Go. Set it up exactly like I've got it. And then you don't have to worry about it. So there's so many ways to handle that. And then you can also, if you want to mock it up at home, you can have somebody come help you and help you decide what needs to go with what. And then maybe after that first time, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I get it now, Yeah. So sometimes I'm the worst for having to see something that's like right there in front of my face, and I haven't seen it. And then all of a sudden I'm just like, wow, how long did it take me to see that? So don't be ashamed to ask for help from people. And nobody has to really know how to do something. It's just, what are you seeing? Tell me what you see first when you walk in. So, hey, Patty, that's a lot of times all you need is just somebody just coming fresh up to it and say, okay, when you walked up, what did you see first? And if they're like, well, give me a second, let me think. And then they're like, okay, I see this, I see that. And then you're like, where'd you go next? What did you look at next? And then instantly that's going to help you know their eye is either bouncing, which is maybe what you want, or their eye is panning, and it's either yes, what you want, no, not what you want. And so that's always the best way. And if you don't have people to come up and look, take a picture of it and send it to a couple of friends and say, okay, before you open this picture, these are the questions I want you to answer me. What did you see first? Which way did you go? That kind of thing. What caught your attention? Maybe was there something that you would change, and as you get used to doing things, then all of a sudden you're like, okay, yeah, this isn't that bad. This is pretty easy. So play around with stuff, and then you can start adding extras as you start figuring things out. You can start adding, bows or lights or little trinkets, or actual display things, that you adds to it and maybe conveys your theme a little more. I would always have to come up with a thought. I was never directed how to do the displays. It was always mine to figure out how I wanted the product to be displayed. And when I first started at the company I was working at, I was in a whole other city from where I ended up at the end. And out there, they didn't have a whole lot of display items. So I had to create a lot of my own display items, which was awesome, actually, because I could do whatever I wanted. And it was a matter of just figuring out how to use what we had around, because I had $0 to spend. And I knew it. There was no budget. So I would walk around the back of the store in the warehouse area and find things and create my kids in the kids area, or create 3D displays by how I was able to pin them to the wall and pull them out, or hang them from a ceiling grid with fishing line and various things and tack them to the walls, and create like these flying displays and stuff. So I was using everyday products just like you guys can use, and I will be using, always everyday products in my booth too. It was just a matter of looking around and seeing what was there to use, because that's all I had. I had no ability to get anything. The one thing that a lot of people don't know, and I learned this just by sheer determination. So when you want to go and tack something to a wall, you don't want to use, obviously, nails, because that's going to put a hole in something that you have to pull down and resell. Did you know you can take pins that have a metal head? Nowadays, they're harder to find than they used to be. Most of the pins come like this, with these plastic heads that have the color on them, the round heads. We've all seen them. There are pins out there that you can buy that are metal, that have just like a little metal cap on them, and that's the way pins used to be. You can take those and a lightweight hammer and real carefully tap, 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 tap into a drywall. Stays better than a nail, does not leave any holes in your clothes because it's a pin, and it'll stay up there just fine. I went through pins like crazy, because back in the receiving area and the clothing area, they had big long rolls of pins that they bought and kept them on this roll for the merchandising girls when they would get the boxes in, and they would have to either pin stuff or whatever. I mean, they used them for whatever. So I always had a big old long thing of pins with me, and I'd go up the ladder and I'd have them over my shoulder or something. I'd be up there tapping stuff away, and everybody's like, "Are you using pins?" And I'm like, "Yeah, who would have thought?" But it works. If you're not tapping super hard, you just real carefully tap, 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 they go in like butter. It's amazing. I still use them even here in my studio when I want to hang something on a wall, and then it puts just a little teeny tiny hole in the wall. And if I ever want to go fix it, it's just a little of toothpaste or putty or whatever you want to use. And you barely, half the time I even have to go searching for a hole because I can't even find it. So try it sometime if you're just trying to even hang like something really lightweight and you don't want to put any kind of a nail or anything up. The pins will hold quite a bit of weight. You'd be surprised if you put several, don't just put one in the middle if it's heavy. I put like 2 or 3 across or something. But yeah, I've got several of them up around here. And it's just, I'm in a hurry and I'm like, oh yeah, I've got some of those pins. Now I got to go find some more of those pins. And they're going to be harder and harder to find, but they are the kind that you buy. If you can get them on a roll, and that's kind of something that you would buy like through Uline or something like that. They still sell them that way, just like they do, the big rolls that have like the elastic or the ribbon on them. And that's kind of what they come on. And then they're just brown tape or brown paper runs around, has the pins just stuck through them. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'm gonna go put these guys back. I love this. I wish I could get some more of this black fabric. This knit, I don't know. I happened to find it at Joann's, and it is like the softest I've ever touched. It's almost like velvet. It is so soft, and I'll never find knit like that again. They must have just got it in one time or something, because I bought about 4 or 5 yards of it when I touched it, and I've never seen it there since. I'm almost like wanting to keep it just for me and make me some clothes out of it. So, anyways, now that I've talked you guys' ears off about all that, anybody have any questions or anything? And it's getting to be almost 10 o'clock my time. Tomorrow's Monday, so I'm going to have to get off here and get ready to go to bed and get up and do the work thing. I just can't believe how fast these weeks are flying by and the weekends. I mean, it just seems like it's Friday and then it's Sunday night and then again it's Wednesday and then it's Friday and Sunday night again, and nuts. It's just sad the way it's flying by. No questions from anybody? Then lull you guys to sleep. Oh, Pia, I used to do that. I did that for way too long. I think I did that for 8 years, 9 years. And that's the one thing the pandemic blessed me with, is the fact that I work from home now and I don't have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go to work. That was so horrible. So, yeah, bless you, Pia. I can't do it anymore. I just can't. It was getting so hard right before the pandemic hit, and I was just like, how am I going to keep doing this? And then that came along, and I was like, thank you. That solved I don't know if I can do this anymore. So yeah, it is. It's tough, and it gets tougher. It's just each year you do it, it gets harder and harder. So bless you, girl. I feel for you, man. That I'm usually still way out when that alarm goes off, and I'm not a morning person, so that makes it even worse. So, all right, well, I appreciate you guys hanging with me tonight. I appreciate you listening to me just talk on. We will have a sew with me as soon as I figure out. I'm going to try and do one next Sunday because I miss them. I miss doing them. So I'm going to try and pull one together for next Sunday and do that. And I will post what it is when I figure it out and the list of items and stuff. I'll put that over on my Facebook page. And you'll see the post for the live. I'll post early, and I try and put the list in that description. I don't know if you guys see the description or not, so that's why I put it over on my Facebook page as well. Oh, you just hired someone to do it. Yeah, good, Pia, because that's rough. There's people that are morning people and they can do it. I'm not one of them. So yeah. But anyways, so oh yeah, yeah, Patty, we talked a lot about it. So yeah, you have to listen, and I'll be having ongoing because I'm gonna keep doing market every month. So we'll have lots more talks about market as things change, and my experiences change on each one too. So I'm sure it'll be a very common topic for a little while. So anyway, I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me. This was fun. I enjoy my Sunday nights with you guys, as you know, and I'll start posting a little more. I have been really bad lately. I'm sorry, because I was all caught up in just getting it all done for last month. Now I can kind of start just doing inventory, so that's good. I got all of the tagging and all that figured out. So anyways, see you guys next Sunday, and I hope you have a really wonderful week, and thank you for hanging out with me. I love you guys, and as always, have a good evening. We'll see ya.